Hey guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. It is I, your host, cosplayer named ZentaiFit, and today we're going to do a review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink. Now this book has been out for a while, but it is going to be my first time actually publicly talking about it. Mind you, I read this book last year, enjoyed the heck out of it. I enjoyed my read so thoroughly. I just don't have it on digital copy, and so what I wanted to kind of do today was just have a tabletop conversation, just discussing and kind of dissecting what I liked from this book, what stood out to me, and kind of just to hear from you guys as well. And for those of you who have read this book, or if you haven't read it, nonetheless, I just want to touch on it and just talk about how wonderful this book is in particular. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number one, Kim's solo story. It's about growing up and her essentially becoming, a woman, essentially. You know what I mean? I think this story does a great job kind of fleshing that out and walking you through, just certain segments of her life. She's no longer in Angel Grove. She now lives in France with her mom and her stepdad. And, she, just because you leave Angel Grove doesn't mean you can't escape monsters. So, she finds herself in a new place, and now she's got a new mission, and now she's got to bring together a new team, which is just, I really love the far from home aspect, without other words to think of. I think that's the best way of describing how this early segment of the book makes me feel nonetheless. Goldar is not the main antagonist in this book. There's actually, a point in this book where Goldar actually teams up with Power Rangers and works with them, which I think is really cool because you didn't really see that in the show that much. And it also kind of gives that further depth, with characters, which I think is really cool, and especially the villains. It almost makes me want to see more backstories on certain villains, because you realize just how intriguing they are and their motives and why they do what they do. So I thought that was really cool too, to kind of see Goldar in a different setting and a different light as well. Costumes, the characters, Trini and Zach, they are a couple in this. They are all hooked up and stuff and bouquet. Sergey, or Sergi, how do you say that name? I think it's Sergey. Serge, I'm totally butchering this name, this is ridiculous. But anyway, Serge and his sister Britt, they become Power Rangers as well. Which is just cool to see, other Rangers from around the world, essentially. It really links together some things that, old fans may know about, but then it also digs a little bit deeper and gives us some freshness as far as its story. So I really, really dig this book. Her team up with Tommy was excellent as well, and just the, being reunited with the old team. They really don't know that it's Kim. They just, see, some new Power Rangers, and, these are new heroes that are teaming up with them because something happens, obviously if you read this book, where, Kim and her team, they end up having to help Tommy, fight Lord Zed and Rita. And again, the leadership, like I said from the beginning, it's cool to see Kimberly in that light in this book. Yes, in the show she did have those moments where, she had to step in as the leader and had to step in and, take action. But there were a lot of times where she was the damsel in distress, and Tommy had to come to the rescue. But in this particular story, we really see that this is exact opposite of that, where she's become her own individual, which she always was before, but I'm just saying as a superhero, as, someone who's leading the story, and leading her own team, essentially. I thought that was just really cool to see that executed for this character, and just well-deserved too. I think it's just really cool to have more of that, strong, powerful leadership, for particular female characters for Power Rangers. I just thought it was awesome, and it was really cool to see Kimberly have that opportunity in this book nonetheless. The letter. So, what I really like about this book, one of the other key components is if you remember watching the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers show, we all know about that classic heartbreaking episode where, Kimberly Hart writes Tommy Oliver a letter, and it's basically her letter, breaking up with him. So it's the breakup letter. This is where she left Tommy. But, in that, I think that was cool how they reference that, and you see that at the end of this book where, you know, yes, she does break up with Tommy, but, you know, she also says, you know, hey, he's like her best friend, in some ways like a brother. So I was like, dang, Tommy got friend zoned a little bit. Nonetheless, it was just cool to see that, you know, Kim, you know, her reasoning behind all of that. Like, you know, she's growing into, you know, her own person. But I thought that that was cool. Nonetheless, how they reconnected, you know, that letter to, you know, this comic, and just to kind of see what was going on in her head, what was going on in her time while she was, you know, away from Angel Grove. And it all brought it back together, which I thought was really cool. So those are my main bullet points. The original Pink Ranger returns. After leaving the life of a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger behind, Kimberly Hart finds herself pulled back into the fray. With her parents missing and their village overrun by monsters, she must reclaim her destiny and discover the power that lies within. She'll have to call on some old friends if she's going to unravel the mystery and save this once sleepy village. Guys, have you read this book? If so, let me know what you thought. I absolutely adored and loved this book. I thought it was awesome. You know, it was just great to get it all in its entirety. I'm kind of like that with certain comic runs where it's just nice to read kind of the collection versus just the single issues. And this is one of them that I was excited to be able to have in just its entirety, because like I just pretty much binge read this book. Like it took me maybe, yeah, I think I finished it in one day, because that's how excited I was. Like I read through it and then looked back through it, you know, after that. But just such a good book. If you have read this, please let me know what your thoughts are. This book is fantastic. If you have not read it, definitely go check it out. You know, visit some of your local comic book shops or Comixology, any online service. You should be able to find it and download it as well there too. But Power Rangers Pink, such a good read. I definitely recommend it. A couple other things too. You know, I have a really cool project coming you guys' way in December, so keep your eyes on that. Especially, you know, for Soul of the Dragon, there's some cool stuff that's going to be going down with that. And then also, you know, yes, I recently just did, you know, explaining the Boom Studios Power Ranger comics. Let me know if you guys want to see more content like that. I really like, you know, obviously you guys know I recap the issues, but it's kind of cool digging into the history and kind of, you know, more in-depth videos about these comics versus just the recaps and the tabletop, you know, discussions. Let me know if there's a, you know, particular topic, you know, about these comics that you guys want me to discuss and bring to the table. I would love to do that. Yeah, without further ado, guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. If you are new to my YouTube channel, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you guys' support so very much. You have no idea. Until next time, guys, wham, bam, boom.